I've just finished the Poppy War like 30 minutes ago, and I am mad. But even though I'm mad, I will still read the second and third book. Yeah, yeah. The title kind of gives away what I want to talk about this book, and I don't want it to be seen as if I'm gonna be talking too good about it or bad either. I have my compliments, but I also have my not so compliments. But before I start all of my commentary on the book, I just want to put a disclaimer. I'm just a reader for fun. I don't know a lot about literature, and I do not know a lot about the history that this book is kind of based off of. So I'm taking this book as a literal fantasy. There's not going to be commentary on how realistic it is or how reflective it is of the history between China and Japan specifically, because this book is in China. Like, it's pretty obvious, but I'm not that knowledgeable about the history between these two countries. So this is just going to be based on a fantasy book. I'm not going to take it as a history war book. Before I start my commentary, I'm going to give a really brief explanation of the book. If you want to pass, this is a fantasy book, so it is not in the world we live in right now. It is not set in the world we live in right now. It is not in the future, not in the past. It's just in a different realm in general. Our main character is called Fang Runing, but throughout the whole book, we call her Rin. So I'm just going to mention her as Rin. Rin is a 13, 14-year-old girl, and she is a war orphan. The name of the book is Poppy War, yeah. She is a war orphan raised by the family of Fang. They don't like her. They were kind of forced to adopt her. Um, and they use her for drug deals. Yeah. Main story of the books starts with this obstacle. She learns that they are planning to make her marry, or they're gonna be forcing her to marry this kinda rich old dude because he's gonna help them with the drug dealing and everything. So they're gonna make her marry him. Obviously, she objects, but it's not like she has a lot of choices. She is in a really small town, I guess we could call it. Not any money. She's literally an orphan. So she's kind of forced, but she has one teacher in the town. She does not attend school, but she does kind of go to this teacher and like borrow books. So she doesn't like know how to read and write. And she also knows a few other stuff as well, thanks to this teacher. So one day when she learns this, she goes to this teacher and is like, I don't want to go. Like, I don't want to go. You have to talk with them. And he's like, I can't do that because the family is kind of known to be dangerous. And she's like, help me get into the exam, help me get into a college, I guess we could call it. And that's the only thing I ask of you. And he's like, that's impossible. What am I talking about? What exam is this? It's basically a nation held exam. You can think of it as like a college entrance exam, but to be able to pass it, you do need a really great education starting from a young age, which she did not have. But she was like, in 2 years, I will learn them all. And he's like, you can't do that. You know, the people that you're going to be going against are going to be from noble families who've been learning all of this throughout their whole life. Like, that's all they've known. You can't learn all of that information in 2 years. And she's like, try me. And throughout the whole book, you see this with her. She's like, I don't have any other choice. You think I won't learn it, but I won't have any other choice. Like, it's either death or this. That's her mindset. She's not gonna get married. So the teacher kinda has to agree with her, and then she kinda blackmails the family into letting her at least not get married for another 2 years. At the end, the mother is basically like, okay, so you're gonna be getting married in 2 years. Like, you're not gonna get in. Because here's also the deal, You need money to study. You need money to study. There's only one place where you won't need money, and it's like a military university kind of situation. Military academy, let's call it academy. But to be able to get there, you need to be like the best of the best. Turns out she is the best of the best. 2 years pass, and boom, she gets in to this academy called Synagard. And the story kind of starts from there. Even some of the things I told you might be spoilers, I'm sorry, but the story genuinely starts after she gets to Synagard because, like, she also kind of realizes that she's not as good as the other people because she was not born into a noble family, so she never was given the privilege, the resources that these people had. These kids had. All of them are kids at this point. And throughout the book, we kind of see how she navigates in the academy, but also in war. All right. I mean, I don't think that's a spoiler. The book's name is literally Poppy War. The war does not have a name as it's happening, but it will probably be called the Poppy War 3 or something like that. Or not, you will see it. And yeah, we kind of see her navigate how she can be a warrior with no money, basically. Now, coming back to the title, this book is really predictable. From the start, it's really predictable. You know she's gonna get into the school. You know so many things. Like, even the way the characters are introduced, you know you will get more of them in the further we go with the story. And usually that's not something you want from a book, right? You don't want it to be too predictable. You want there to be some mystery. You want to be you want there to be plot twists, right? This book doesn't really give you a lot of that, but I think what it gives you is even harder to achieve, if that makes sense. Because, like, getting surprised from plot twists is expected, right? And usually, most of the time, the plot twists, if they're not written well, are plot twists because you didn't know of them. Like, I did not know another room was available. Of course, I'm gonna be surprised. Of course, that's gonna be a plot twist. The well written plot twists are plot twists within the information you have. It's just from a different perspective, right? This book is kind of predictable. It also has its unpredictabilities as well. Like, there are certain times in the book where you're like, what is happening? Like, you do get surprised. It doesn't always go the way you expect it to because it doesn't go the way the main character expects it to do. Rin. We do read from her perspective, but it's like, for example, there was this one tiny chapter where it wasn't her perspective as well. So I can't say it was all in her perspective. Coming back. I think being this predictable yet this intriguing is harder to do because I knew what was gonna happen. I knew those characters were gonna be important, or this thing that was mentioned was gonna be mentioned again. But I wanted to read it. I wanted to read it. I wanted to see where it goes. I didn't care that I knew she was gonna get there. I wanted to know how and why. And I think making people stay like that is harder to do. That's my experience, and I do love this genre. I do love a catharsis moment. I do love a character that comes from a poor background getting like her revenge kind of scenario, if that makes sense. Like, this book is kind of satisfactory in that sense, but also not. I know the writer was 19 when she wrote this, and I'm just gonna say it's kind of evident within the conversations throughout the book. I will say, I don't care what you say, okay? It was impressive that a 19-year-old wrote this. It's not the most exquisite thing, it's not the most exquisite world writing, and it doesn't have to be for it to be entertaining and good. I will say it. This book is good, but it's specifically better when you learn that a 19-year-old wrote it. It's good. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with saying that. But again, like I said, it is kind of evident with the way some of the characters speak. But they are characters. I honestly didn't care. It didn't really bother me as much as it did some people because I read some of the reviews and I've seen that a lot of people were kind of complaining about the depth of the characters, and I understand that. I do. But I don't think it really affected me as much as it did other people. Something that I will also say, you don't like the main character. That's not the point of the book. You don't really love her. You do have an attachment to her, at least I did. I didn't hate her, but I definitely did not love her. Throughout the whole book, she is not patient. She is not generally the best person, right? But I think that makes stories better. Writing a likable character is playing it safe. Writing Rin and making 3 books with her as the main character, that's taking a risk. And I'm appreciating that. Like, I'm so mad. I'm so mad. But I will be reading the second book because I want to see what she's going to do. I feel like I'm having an Eren Yeager moment. It's kind of, it's not fully the same thing. It's definitely not the same thing, but she's not really a protagonist, but more so an ambiguous. It's really hard to explain her. Not too hard. It's just hard for me. But like, you do understand where she's coming from, but you don't agree with her, if that makes sense. I see what she's doing and I'm like, no, but I also know why she's doing it, but I'm still like, no. And she keeps doing them throughout the whole book, but I still keep reading it. And I think, again, that's a hard thing to do. Writing a character, a main character at that, that is not fully likable, but still making people stay is hard. I stopped reading The Stranger because I couldn't stand what the main character did because it was so stupid. Imagine my surprise reading this book when I was still willing to read it, still willing to see what was going to happen, even though I thought it was stupid. I still could understand her. And I think that is not easy to do, again, for a 19-year-old at that. So I will be reading the second book and I will be reading the third book. And I think I kind of also know what's going to happen. Going back to the title, it's not the most unpredictable book out there, but I want to know why. I want to know why she's going to do these things because I know I know that she's probably going to do what I think she's going to do. I mean, it's the whole emphasis throughout the whole book. Even the ending of the book, it basically tells you what she's going to do, right? But I want to know how far she's willing to go, if that makes sense. How far the writer is willing to go with this main character. This book has nearly 500,000 reviews on Goodreads, and it has more than 4 stars as an average. I'm surprised. I'm surprised that this many people liked this book. Not because it's bad. Throughout the whole video, I'm literally saying I liked it. Not because it's bad, but because the main character is not likable. And I'm surprised so many people liked it. I'm kind of happy about it because, I mean, that's also how I feel. But I'm still surprised. Honestly, I thought it would be a lot more controversial. After reading it, I'm like, why is it not more controversial? Maybe because these people read it after maybe reading the second and third books and it kind of goes somewhere. I'm gonna see. But usually, especially the first books of the series, are not really rated after reading the whole trilogy. So I'm surprised how well received this book is. Like, literally on Goodreads, there's only like 5,000 reviews that were 1 stars. 5,000 out of nearly 500,000 being 1 stars is a damn good skill. Honestly, girl, pop off. Maybe it's just me. Like, at that point, I was like, maybe the main character is not unlikable to everyone. maybe I only found her like that, but I don't think so. I think it was intentional. I think throughout the whole book, it was intentional that what she's doing may not be the best for everyone, but also you're kind of thought that there's no way where no one will get hurt. There's no one truth, right? It's war. Like the whole book is about war. The whole thing, I don't know how many pages it is, like 430 pages, is about how there's no winner in war. How could the main character in a war thing be that likable, right? Or how can a book about war cannot be as controversial as it should be? I don't know. I'm surprised. It's a good surprise, but I'm still surprised because, like, well, like, what do you mean? What do you mean so many people liked it? I also liked it, but I'm surprised so many people liked it. I thought it would be a lot more, I don't know, controversial because, especially after the ending, guys, am I the only one? Like, yeah, sure, I understand where you're coming from. I understand that you suffered, but everybody suffered. That's the whole point of the book. And I hope throughout the second and third book, this is kind of more indulged in. I'm really excited to see how my opinions will change on this book after reading the second and the third one. Because right now, I like it, but I'm mad at it. But I'm also kind of applauding that the writer made the choices they did. And I'm also excited. I don't know. I don't know. The whole point is that I don't know. I'm just confused. Like, I know, but I'm still confused. We will see, I guess. We will see.